you plant a seed in the soil, the first thing that comes up is not the sprout, it's the dirt. And you got to clear the dirt in order for that sprout to come up. And so that's going to happen organically as you align more and more with what's highest and best for you. And you don't know what the heck that's going to look like. Hey there, Alix here. Welcome to another episode on Love and Waves. I have an idea today. It's going to be a soul stream, but I want to talk about attachment versus devotion, actually, devotion versus attachment. And what this really means to me right now is the difference between living your highest timeline and your lowest, living from soul versus living from ego. And this is really what it's about. So I talk a bit about, that we're moving from harmonic universe 1 to 2. And you'll see that in past videos. But what that means is we're moving from dimensions 1, 2, 3, the subconscious, the emotional and mental bodies, and the physical world, into harmonic universe 4, 5, and 6, which is, or harmonic universe number 2, but 4, 5, and 6 dimensions, which is moving through the astral of time and space into what's called Tara, which is this next level Earth, or the 5D Earth, and becoming the creator at level at 60 and above, where we're aligning collapsing timelines into the highest timeline, which is how our soul wants to express here. So that's the backdrop of what I'm trying to share here. So we're working through 4, 5, and 6 right now. If you're on this channel, you're probably in some level of 4, 5, and 6 right now. So to align with soul is to align with levels 6 and up, that inner impulse, the truth impulse. And this is where we have collapsed duality. This is the non-physical realm that we get to choose to align with in order to bring into the physical realm through our mental body, emotional body, and into the physical, the subatomic, like literally we create that through what we choose. And so when we're on that 5D platform, as I like to call it, when we're coming into a space of just witnessing, we get to choose to go with soul 60 and above, or to choose with the ego to bring either down into the 3D. Okay, so that's how you're creating. So talking about attachment versus devotion, attachment is when we are working through the ego and we're attached to what we want or what we don't want. We're attached to the identities, to the positions that we take on things, what we believe to be true due to programming, everything. We also react and unconsciously react and recreate and remember from what we believe to be true from the past or the future, or from wounds and traumas that get triggered up, which is basically stuck, trapped energies that are in our fields that get triggered when the people and the situations in life come to pass. They come to pass, but they're getting hung up on these distorted energies that have not been processed. They haven't been able to be processed. So then you remember and you put together the old story again, and then you have it, add emotion to it, mental and emotional, and then we're reacting with the ego that wants to stay safe, wants to be in the familiar zone of knowing what to expect and how to react and what to push away from and what to hold on to, and to control the environment, right? To feel safe. That's what the ego does. But we identify with these things. We call them, this is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I need to control in order to feel safe. This is what I need to push away in order to feel, safe, or what have you. This is how I want to get more power. This is what makes me feel proud of myself. This is the shame that I feel. This is what I want to run away from. This is what makes me want to crawl through, into a hole, under a rock. Like, all of these things are of the ego. And these are all lower on the scale of consciousness, and they're basically indications of our level of duality thinking. Again, all of this black and white and judgment, and what we identify with, and what we are attracted to, and aversive. That's not a word. What makes us feel in aversion, right? We want to push away things. And again, this is all in order to create an equilibrium. Energy seeks to balance itself. It's all really energy. But when we bring it through the mind and the emotions, it gets all wonky. So when we're aligning with the ego, you're feeling that. You're feeling that it's busy, 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 trying to calculate and figure out how it's going to make this environment feel equilibrium, right? This is how we try to self-regulate. So that versus, so when we're choosing according to attraction, I should say attraction or aversion, what we're attracted to, or what we're, or attachment, excuse me, I said attraction. Attachment is we're attached to the things that we believe to be true for ourselves. We're attached to the things that, the situations that we believe, or the environment that we believe is going to help make that feel safe. These are all attachments. And the whole theme of letting go, or let them, or whatever the buzzwords are, the whole thing there is to actually align with soul, is to allow things to come to pass, deal with things. Watch my last video, truly the very last one. Deal with things as they come to pass, and deal with what's not passing through, right? And not recreating that through the ego, and instead aligning with the devotion to the higher self, the devotion to any level higher self that feels good to you. It could be your higher self. It could be, you could call it God. You could call it source consciousness stream. I don't so much align with other beings. I don't, because there's just enough fuckery going on out there of other disembodied beings pretending to be this or that to steer you away from your own alignment. Okay, the higher you get on this, the more distortion is going to come at you to try to pull you out of alignment. So just stay in a straight line, please, and call for your highest self, the highest guidance from God directly, or whatever you want to call that. For me, again, divine source consciousness. Please channel that. That's my soul stream. And listen to that quieter voice, right? You're going to have to get more still, create space, get out of time, which means don't be thinking about the past or anxious about the future, because that's a trap, that's a loop that's going to keep you in those lower dimensions. Because if you're thinking about the past, you're recreating the past. And if you're anxious about the future, it's because you're thinking about the past and you don't want to recreate that in your future. So you're trying to control the future. Anxious, anxiety. You don't even know what's ahead of you. That's the attachment to what is, creating an equilibrium with what is with the mind. Now, devotion, we're letting that go when we are devoting to a higher version of us, the unknown. We're surrendering the ego, control, attraction, aversion. We're surrendering that and devoting to this absolute trust that that truth impulse is going to come through, and that your soul has the highest and best, always the fastest timeline to what it wants to express. And in that process of aligning with that and taking those actions, yes, indeed, as your frequency rises, anything unlike it's going to come up to pass. You're going to want to deal with it, right? Anything you plant a seed in the soil, the first thing that comes up is not the sprout, it's the dirt. And you got to clear the dirt in order for that sprout to come up. And so that's going to happen organically as you align more and more with what's highest and best for you. And you don't know what the heck that's going to look like. That's the deep faith and devotion that I trust, and I believe that this is my highest and best is coming today, now, right in this moment. And you align with that. Now, as you want to move even further up into this, so that's just, choosing in that moment. When you want to start really aligning with that highest timeline, that 60 and above, now you're collapsing timelines, and this is where law of assumption, if you will, comes into play. This isn't law of attraction where you're working with the mind and trying to train your mind to believe something over and over and over again. That's working in the 4D, 3D, right? That's different. This is surrendering the mind, devoting to a higher version of you that's going to impulse your next action without deciding whether or not that action, with your mind deciding, cutting off other options. No deciding, just devoting that you're going to take that action. And trusting and knowing and believing that it is in your highest. That's going to collapse all the other timelines. And that's when you can start creating by law of assumption. And now, what is law of assumption? I'm not going to go into Neville Goddard teachings because I'm not a Neville Goddard student. I just know that that's what this is about. It's just something that I organically do in certain areas. I just assume when I get an impulse, and I'm trying not to use the mind anymore. I'm not trying to create something. But when I have an impulse that feels really good and expansive, I'm judging it as good, of course, as I'm putting this in air quotes. If it feels expansive to me, it feels in alignment with how Source sees it. That is an action I want to take. That is a vision that I want to create. That is a download that I'm getting that feels right. And when I just assume, well, if I had that impulse and it felt expansive, that's my new truth. And I am devoted to living into that truth according to whatever the next impulses are that are aligned with that. I just trust. I don't know how the next day is going to go. I don't know how this video is going to go, but I just trust that if I'm impulsed to turn this thing on and I have a title that popped into my mind, I'm assuming that this message is going to get across to you, whether you understand it from a 3D mental standpoint, an emotional standpoint, or just the codes that are coming through my voice. The transmission itself is speaking to your higher self, and our higher selves are belly bumping up there going, yes, I get it. I am devoted to aligning to my highest timeline. I'm in. I'm in. And it's that ego that comes in. It's like, but wait a second, what about this and this? But you said you were going to do that. And you got, and this person's not going to like it. And if you do that, then that person's going to get, butthurt about it or something, right? So, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And you're creating this whole thing for yourself. The higher the timeline that you are aligning with, the more, again, the dirt's going to come up to be clear to come to pass. And your mastery is learning how to be in the moment and allowing whatever comes to pass through, allowing anything that gets stuck to move out, to just dissolve out by allowing the emotion to emote, to correct that feeling, and to ask for a revelation if you feel like you need to learn something so you can change the programming of the mind and just lessen that even more. If needed, it will be revealed to you. But don't go looking for it and telling more stories and giving meaning to things just because you want to be in control of what's going on so you can become equilibrium. No, trust, devote that it will come to me if I ask for it. Now, if you don't feel connected, you're low. That's being lower on the scale. That's when we get more and more in control of, trying to control things. So as you let go and let go, you're going to rise in your frequency, in your core resonant frequency. And as you rise in core resonant frequency, the oscillation of your own frequency fields, as they expand, become tighter and faster. And lower density things cannot be in that field. That's why they move out as you're increasing and going up the scale and closing this duality, this attraction aversion, this pendulum that's going back and forth, right? It's closing up. You're moving up the scale. The other stuff that's unlike it comes up to be cleared. It just gets dissolved out. You don't get as sick. You don't get as worried. You don't get as angry. You're not so prideful. You're not so controlling. And all these things just like let go until boom, you pop through and you bust out of the mind. And bam, you're just living from the heart. And there's a coherence here. And it's truly a physical shift that happens. And that oscillation, lack is no longer, fear goes away. We're looking at the difference between aligning with fear and aligning with love. Devotion is devotion to love and truth. What is real? Fear is illusory. There's no such thing as lack. Lack is a non-thing. But if we believe in lack, we're creating a void, a vacancy, a void in our whatever, the accounts, the relationships, the whatever. There is no such thing as lack. That is a distortion. And as you rise higher and you stop trying to identify and telling stories about lack, or this thing that's missing, or this thing that you need, that's going to be, if this, then that. If I have this, then I will be happy. If only it were this way, then it, all that if then stuff, all that literally just oscillates out. It can no longer exist down here. And then you become magnetic and you start drawing in and you start with that devotion to the 6D and above, right? Now that timeline collapses and the soul is just expressing. It came here to express, but it has to clear the crap out of the way in order to do so. And we have to cooperate with that by letting go of the attachments and aligning and devoting to the alignment with soul, higher self, God, source consciousness. That's the game. That's why we're here. We're here to heal the distortion and create truly from a higher place. So that's the difference. And I hope that that lands for you today and inspires you to get real serious about that and really feel into this and watch some of my past videos. I got a whole bunch on balancing the masculine and feminine. I think there's a series of 4 that really helps with this push and pull and all this stuff, the mental, emotional, getting that into check. And of course, check out what I do as well. I'm here to help from a quantum balancing. I'm going to help people come into innerunion from the quantum healing realm, but I'm also a coach as well. So we can really, really personalize what's going on for you, what's happening in your world on all levels, relational, work, purpose, all of those things, health, all my background's in that. So happy to take a peek, have a chat with you and see if there's a fit that I can help you move forward on this thing. There's so much changing in the world, and the sooner you can come into that sweet spot, right into that center point, that alignment with your highest, I'm telling you, you are free. You're free. And you get to live on a higher station of identity, a higher earth, whilst all the chaos is happening around you, right in the eye of that storm, as a pillar for those that you love, for yourself, and for the future. So I hope you enjoyed this here today. I would love to hear from you. Thumbs up, subscribe, all the good things. And thank you. I will see you on the next video.